well, we'll see. Oh, okay, got it. Everybody got the notice that we're online. Good afternoon. This is Delegate Deborah Davis, Chair of the Charles County Delegation. We are meeting today to discuss Charles County Delegation agenda for the 2024 legislative session. We're all here. Maybe it will be a good opportunity, since we're being videoed, for everyone to identify themselves.
Do we want to start? Well,
I think we're started now.
Left to right. So I will introduce myself, and then do you want me to just call left to right? So Alexis Jones, Delegate Davis's Chief of Staff. Next is Tron.
Hey everyone, it's Sharon Steele Lanier. Now I'm in Chairman Wilson's office, Legislative Director. Any way in which I can support you, please let me know.
Hello, everyone. I'm Delegate Edith Patterson. I represent District 28.
Amani?
Sure. Hey, everyone. My name is Amani Beecham. I am Senator Ellis's Chief of Staff. Alexis, it's very nice to meet you, and welcome to the delegation.
Who wants to go next? Kara? You're muted.
Sorry. Kara Franklin, Delegate Patterson's Chief of Staff. Nice to see you all again.
Okay, Senator Ellis, I guess. Senator Ellis?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Senator Arthur Ellis, District 28, serve on the Finance Committee. Good to be here.
Great. Delegate Harris.
Sorry, on two Zooms at one time. Delegate Kevin M. Harris, 27A, serve on the Appropriations Committee.
Thank you so much. Chairman Wilson?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm Chairman C.T. Wilson. I chair the House Economic Matters Committee. And
okay, thank you. And I understand that Senator Jackson is on board. He's in his car.
Yes. Yep, I am. Good afternoon, Senator Michael Jackson, District 27, serve on Budget and Taxation. Welcome, Ms. Alexis.
Thank you, sir. And I want to remind everyone that we're being recorded and live streamed. We are here for the purpose of discussing the proposed legislation that was submitted from the county and other legislation from our colleagues. If you're ready, you guys have the entire package our staff has sent you. I'd like to start if there aren't any questions. If there are any questions first? Any questions? All right. The first one on my list is the amendment to prohibit an unlicensed establishment from allowing the consumption of alcohol on the premises. We've had some discussion about this. Is there any further discussion? None. The way we're going to follow the way we're going to handle this is we'll discuss, and if you have no opposition, we'll send around voting sheets and everyone will sign a voting sheet. But is there any other information you need on this before you vote?
I have a question. Is this new, or was this set before? It looks familiar.
So that we had that last year, and we had some discussion about it, and some we didn't put it forward.
Is this the bring your own bag bottle, rather?
Yes, it in essence says you can't.
Okay. All right.
You guys know I haven't been a big proponent of it, but I believe in the last meeting I edged a little bit more toward the middle. But if you need more information, we'll get it. That's all I have. I'm just a leader. We will send around the vote sheets later. Is that acceptable?
That's really acceptable. I think that it would be interesting if Chairman Wilson has any thoughts, because it's in his committee. I forgot to say I'm Ways and Means. We deal with education, taxes, gaming, and everything else but alcohol.
And basically what is my understanding is that this is just being used as a way for individuals to, the way I see it is if you want to be a nightclub, apply to be a nightclub. If you want to have a liquor license, have a liquor license. But what's going on is we have individuals that are, let's say, create an establishment that don't have a liquor license, but they call it bring your own beer, the BYOB thing. So this is something law enforcement, obviously, whenever things get out of hand, then we have to entertain our law enforcement, get them involved. I believe that they were looking to something to allow them to, give them the extra wherewithal to do whatever they needed to shut these places down. So I, for one, didn't really have a problem with the bill. I'm not sure where everybody stands. Are you saying we're not gonna vote publicly, or how do you, as far as how are we doing this?
I thought we just fill out a vote sheet later. I don't know.
Okay. All right.
I call it the cabaret bill. And I
Mhm.
remember growing up with my family going to cabarets all over. And I remember that, if you got a liquor license, you could get a liquor license for you to bring your own beer and wine. And I see that this is a violation, and I think it can be handled under liquor law. That has been
Yeah, because they don't have a liquor license, so there's nothing to handle.
so they're in violation.
But they're not, the liquor board can't do anything because they don't have a liquor license. The only thing the time the liquor board can do something is if there is a license involved. So that's why, that's the crux of this entire thing, is giving somebody the authority, because liquors, they can't get involved with it.
Chairman Wilson, do you know what's done in neighboring? Do you know what's done in neighboring counties?
I believe that because I wrote this bill for Prince George's County years ago when I was a prosecutor, that's how it's done in Prince George's County. This is a problem they had as well with a lot of strip clubs and things of that nature. They were basically dispensing liquor, and in many cases you could bring your own bottle. You'd give it to the bartender. They would have the mixers. They would pour it and do everything. They just wouldn't sell it. So it's very ornate. It's not just I'm having a party at my house, and these were for establishments too. Remember, and I'll look at the law again, and obviously coming to my committee, if we choose to push it forward, to make sure that we're not targeting homes. Even though in Prince George's County, we had that issue because people were renting, they're purchasing or renting these homes, and they were pretty much just strip clubs on the weekend. And people didn't want to live next to that. So we drafted legislation as such in order to kind of prevent these things from happening, giving law enforcement an opportunity to go forward on this. I know Senator Jackson knows a lot about this, not from his personal experience, but from his professional experience. But that's how we were able to, regulate some of these illicit and illegal markets.
Do we remember what the penalty was?
I can't open everything I'm trying to open says I need permissions or access, so I'm not able to open any of the PDFs that were sent.
Would you guys send that again?
Sharon, if you could send it to the ctwilson22@gmail.com, that'd be great.
Well, you're saying in the proposed legislation what the penalty is?
Yes.
And it says a person who violates is guilty of a misdemeanor and on conviction is subject to an imprisonment not to exceed 2 years or fine not exceeding $10,000 or both.
And I know we're all this hug a thug mentality now where we don't want anybody to go to jail for breaking laws, but we're gonna have to get back on track at some point, guys.
Chairman, with all due respect.
I know, girl. I'm talking to you specifically, so go ahead and chime back on in.
With all due respect.
Well, look, I'll, if I might, Madam Chair.
Sure.
Chair Wilson was correct about the legislation in Prince George's County. It became an effective tool. And having conversations with the sheriff and others in Charles County, this is a tool for them to kind of take care of this matter. So I'm supportive of the legislation and wait for the vote sheet.
I will say this, if I can just, Madam Chair, only because I also practice in this county, and I do understand your trepidation, not so much with having the law, but maybe the level of i.e. incarceration, first offenders, things of that nature, which is something we could look into, because I understand different jurisdictions enforce laws differently. Some use them as a tool, some use them as a threat. There's different strokes for different folks. So I will tell you this: if this comes out of our committee, we'll clean that up. Okay, and you can remind me of that, because I don't disagree that 2 years should not be a penalty. Now, mind you, guys, want you to understand when they say max penalties, we have something called the guidelines, okay? They're criminal guidelines, which if you're convicted of a crime, a judge will, they go between the guidelines depending on your background, your history, things of that nature. So we just always have to put a cap on crimes. It's not that people hit that cap unless they also have 2 prior murders. So there is a lot more that goes into it, but I understand the chairwoman's trepidation, and we'll address that.
Okay. Do you guys feel comfortable voting on it, or?
I do.
You do?
Yeah, this bill went through Finance Committee last year, which now handles all the alcohol issues, and I presented this bill, and and it passed the Senate and went over to the House.
I think it stalled out in the House because it was a delegation bill, but it didn't pass the delegation. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I hope that we can get on the same track of music. It's, as a chairman myself, I won't pass a local bill if it doesn't have local support. It has to have the support of a delegation, liquor license, anything. I don't care what it is. If it impacts a specific community, ergo a specific jurisdiction, I need that jurisdiction support before I'll pass a bill.
Yeah, so the commissioners were aware of it it went through the process, and I think we had a majority vote with the delegation. Madam Chair will have had issues with it, so Chair's prerogative, we respect.
That is not, your recollection is a little bit off.
A little bit off? Okay.
No, it did not go through the process, and the chair's, what was the word, privilege is going to be to stick to the rules that we agreed to.
Yeah.
That's going to be the chair's privilege. I for one am not one who would assert my individual vote. I get one.
I mean, I would abuse my privilege if I had it, but I don't.
Well, Chair Wilson, would you consider or offer to us in terms of the penalties, a modification, and then
Well, what I plan on having, I've got this new guy named Sharon. What I'm going to have him do is reach out to his old boss to find out what she thought was going to happen, what she would be comfortable with, and then I will get it back to the delegation.
Okay.
I'll get those amendments back. I will consider them received from the chair. That doesn't mean they'll be accepted. If you guys wish to vote on the amendments, we can. Or I'll say, no, it's not really how it works, guys. But I will talk to us individually, because once it leaves you guys and gets into the committee, it's no longer yours. It's now mine. But all that we said, we're not going to bully this through, okay? And I want this done, Sharon, in a timely manner, because I don't want things to get lost or get slowed down because, we get busy. So
it's going to get slowed down because anytime you make an amendment or whatever, it goes back to the county. That's where sometimes it gets tied.
Not at all. Once I get a bill,
Once it's ours,
it's mine.
it's
I don't have
ours.
to go back to the state to get permission. It's because when a county council members and commissioners do this all the time, they send us a bill, it comes back looking nothing like they thought it was. That's our prerogative.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't have to ask
Well,
permission.
maybe during my chairmanship, I was more lenient.
Well, you're kinder. You're much kinder than our current chairwoman. Yes, I got you.
Okay.
Hey, I would love to entertain your discussion on penalty if anyone else wants to talk about it. Maybe not now, if that's okay.
And I'll have Sharon reach out individually. If anybody has something, please reach out to my office. If you have any inclination on what you like it, how you'd like it to look. At the end of the day, I believe it's a good idea. I don't disagree wholly that we need to graduate these punishments to make sure that they're fair and that they're applied fairly. And I think therein lies the consideration. It's not the law itself, it's how it's applied and who it's applied to that we often have concern with. So I'm with you 100%.
Thank you. Thank you so
And
much.
I love for all this to be resolved before I present that bill in committee and muscle it through the Senate. So that's a lot of work, and
Well,
so
and
get
that's
everything done before we actually present the bill, and as much as possible. If there are changes that no one agrees to, of course, we won't push it through. But just work on the coordination before.
Yeah. We'll make sure that whatever we have looks like what we'd have agreed upon. It looks the same in both houses.
Correct.
It gets put in. So I get it.
And we'll circle back. We could set another date 2 weeks from now. We're going to start meeting as a delegation real soon, so we could do that the first week.
Great.
We'll have it all tied up by then. Thank you. That's just the first one, you guys. Second one, amendment to enable Charles County to pass a local law to regulate off-the-road motorcycles and all-terrain vehicles. Can I stop there? This is my committee. I instructed the county leaders at that time that E&T was not going to do individual bills on ATVs. There's going to be a statewide bill on ATVs.
Is there going to be a statewide bill this year?
There is going to be a statewide bill on ATVs. They're not going to entertain local bills. Now, I do understand your position, Chairman. Let's say I confirm with my chairman that there is going to be a statewide ATV bill. In the light of that, are you guys okay with not forwarding this one? And I will bring it back to you after I confirm to say I confirm. If not, we could try our hat at our own.
I am. I'm okay with that.
Everybody okay with that?
Yeah, I concur.
Any opposition? I'll just make a note that I'm to confirm that that there's going to be a statewide ATV bill. The vice chair and I spoke earlier and she said it, but I'll confirm. Amendment to the family law to change the membership requirement for a psychiatrist on the Charles County Adult Guardianship Review Board. I remember when this was presented, there wasn't a lot of discussion. It just made sense. Any issues? No?
I'm fine with that.
I am as well.
No opposition.
No opposition.
Thank you. Number 4, now Chairman Wilson, give me a minute to explain this one. You did not like this one when it was presented before. Amendment to enable the creation of local park land dedication ordinance to require property developers to dedicate land or pay a fee in lieu to be used in support of development and of recreational facilities. Now, in short, this could mean that the county could make a deal to have a new developer develop a pool or give money for a pool or money for other accommodations that aren't in the development. You get that? It's a tool that the county would use to get other recreation facilities.
And why can't they do that now?
Because we're not a charter government.
Yeah.
Because we need to change our form of government. It is an enabling legislation.
So
Yeah,
with this-
I'm sorry. I just have a bad, whenever, if we never develop another piece of property or a piece of parcel of land in this county for the next 30 years, we'd be awesome. So whenever I see this, I'm trying to, yeah,
Can I put my thinking about this is we hear communities always complaining or not complaining, advocating for more recreational facilities. And when one is dysfunctional, discontinued, i.e. the college pool, that's an extreme case. But when you look at the communities.
no, let me withdraw. I'm sorry, I'm going to withdraw my opposition. I'm reading it. You guys are correct. It's the county, they're elected, they're duly elected. If they piss somebody off, that's between them and their God. That's fine. I'll withdraw my objection.
Thank you.
All right.
I'm sorry, Delegate Patterson. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to step on you there.
You can step anytime.
No, you can't. Any other discussion?
So in a
Okay.
large community, we have a few big ones going in as we speak in Charles County. So this will give them the county commissioners authority to say, Mrs. Developer, you don't have to put walking trails in your community. You don't have to put a community center with a pool. Just contribute the funds to the county, and the county will use those funds for recreational center or whatever account available to all the county folks. And so right now the county and Delegate Patterson, you were in the meeting with the college and the commissioners about the pool, and the parks director talked about how they're behind 5 years with projects. So I mean, logistically, I'm not sure how that will really help get recreational facilities, exercise facilities to folks. I'm not sure if that backlog has been addressed of like 5 years, because Ms. Beavers talked about how the parks folks didn't have any planners on staff and had no funding for hiring planners. And so if we're taking this facility away from development, then we'll have this huge backlog. And the question is, will the complaints and the concerns of the community get louder as far as we're growing so much and we don't have any new facilities popping up around the county? That's a question. I don't have the answers exactly how that could play out, but those are the questions kind of bringing up right now in my brain.
Yeah, I believe this legislation would enable them to get more monies from developers.
I just want to say, again, the senator was reflecting some of my issues, and the problem with enabling legislation, and I know several members have been county commissioners before, is the community doesn't see it as that. When they see there's no place to eat in Charles County, they ask me. And you know how it goes. When they say there's no good shopping place, they don't say, well, let me go ask the commissioners. They hold us. And in fact, in many cases, they hold us to a higher standard than our county commissioners, which is why I'm always so nervous when we talk about, permissive language, because it does bounce back and fall back on us, and we have no say. So I am always a little reticent when I hear about these things, because as Senator Ellis pointed out, I mean, they want us to give them more money for what sounds like almost a defunct organization that doesn't even have the proper manpower, I should say, to do the things that they may need to do. But I've already gave my word. I'm fine on this one. But that is my general nervousness when they talk about, certain legislation, because we are still held responsible.
Yeah, and I get it. And I'm going to shout from the rooftops again. It's our form of government. We should not have this much input on the way the local government is run. If we shouldn't. Delegate Patterson knows firsthand, having been there.
Yeah, but the way it is home rule, there are some things that the county cannot do, even if they're good ideas or marginally good ideas. They have to have enabling legislation. And my concern with enabling legislation is we've enabled them to do quite a number of things that they are yet to do. And so you try and think, well, it's on the shelf for you all to pull down. But somewhere when we have a break, maybe we can look at what legislation is there that the county can use. For example, there was something about homes that were dilapidated or eyesores, etc.
Blighted properties?
Right, right. So but anyway, I digress. I'm fine with this. Thank you.
Any more discussion, or you guys feel comfortable with voting?
I'm comfortable.
Senator Ellis, you had some issues.
Yeah, and between now and then, I would kind of have to get certain clarification. Then being when the bill comes up, I don't really.
So that means you're voting for it, right?
I'll vote.
All right. Any opposition, you guys? All right. Thank you. Number 5, the Cobb Island golf cart bill. That's been up about 5 times, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Commissioner Patterson presented it in before ENT. He and I presented it in ENT. I had no idea why it didn't go through. I have already talked with my chairman about local privilege. The bill mirrored other golf cart bills that have passed through the committee. So I don't know what happened.
Did it get voted down? Did it not get voted on?
Well, this year it passed the House. It just didn't move through the Senate. JPR.
Is that what happened?
That's what happened. The previous year it passed.
Oh, it's Arthur's fault. It's Senator Ellis's fault.
It's my fault. I take.
He didn't like the bill.
The buck. Well, it's the exact same one I passed 2 years before. So,
I think it got stuck in
Okay.
session.
Well, that's
Okay.
what I said. What is a timing issue or, well, I say this because I do get irritated when people mess with other counties' bills, including ours. And so if we see this, being stymied by somebody over there playing games, and we've got to make sure we have the
What
Yeah,
do you
so-
know, Senator Ellis, about it?
What do I know?
What
I know a
happened?
lot, but I won't share it on this open forum right now.
all right. Well, if there's somebody messing with our bills, I'd
Yeah.
love to know so we can handle them accordingly.
Will do, Madam.
Thank you, bud.
Chair.
Because I see where you're, I got you.
Okay, any opposition to this? We voted it through a couple years in a row. Any problems? Anybody change their mind? All right, thank you for that. Number 6, we only have a couple more. A proposal to amend the education article to change the minimum age requirement to run for Charles County School Board from 21 to 18 years old. I spoke to the sponsor and I said I was fine with it as long as you included a college education.
Mm.
What's his sponsor?
Carlos, what's his last name?
Oh, Childs.
Oh, let's go back.
Childs.
You're okay. So when you said college education, what do you mean by that? At least an associate's degree?
Well,
No, because I guess because I have children of that age, I'm astounded that they're asking me for money all the time. They're literally, on my insurance. They're 18 and in name only, and it's no different of a burden than it was when they was 14. So I'm just a little confused. And especially because on one hand we argue criminal law that the brains are not developed until they're 25. But now we want to step it back and say, but in this case it's different. So I'm not a fan of this.
I don't understand, and I should recall as a rationale for this, since we have a student member. Who is the representative for the student body? And that person is duly elected. They have a vote. We modified the structure of the board about 2 years ago, and it's functioning to some degree, 90%. And so the idea of lowering the age, I think, is premature, and I will not support this.
okay, Delegate Harris has a hand up.
Yeah, so I do support this particular bill. A couple of reasons. One is, you got to be 18 to vote, right? So they are voting for a school board. They're voting for us to be in there. And that's number one. Two, the thing, how old, what's this age limit for someone to be a commissioner in Charles County? What is the age for someone to run for delegate or for the state? So those age limits are 18 years old. So and you bring up a good point of having a school board member.
Are you sure they're 18? Because I'm looking on the Board of Elections. It says it's 21 to be a delegate. State Senate is 25. No limit for the AG, I guess. Circuit Court judge is 30.
Yeah. So what's it for the commissioners?
I don't know. I'm just talking about the state delegates are 21. State Senate is 25.
Yeah. Senate is 25. Yeah.
So,
so 18 for the commissioners, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's 18 for the commissioners. So and then you give the school board member, the student school board member is on the school board as well with voting rights. So what's the difference when they graduate high school and running for the same seat that they was just in as a student board member?
I'll say this. My biggest opposition is I'm not a big fan of career politicians, and you're literally starting your career off as a politician. I mean, I don't know how else to say that. That drives me utterly insane. The whole purpose of our jobs is to bring what we have learned and what we experience to the table and say, now, as this person paying these taxes at this house with this and my kids here, this is what I think, versus I've read this because somebody told me. So again, we have these age limits for being a House of Delegates. We want people bringing life experience, not merely hypotheticals.
Right. That makes sense. But the other piece of that is, what about the student that did graduate high school that nowadays at 16 years old that went to college?
Well, that's why I like Delegate Davis's idea then. But see what I don't like, because I got you, because I was going that direction too. My worry is, number one, maturation is still maturation, regardless of how smart they are. Two, more importantly, if we set a standard for education, well, we can't just say because you're under 18, you have to have a bachelor's degree. Now we have to spread that across the board, and it becomes very unfair. So that's why I got your point, but my thing is, so if you're 16, you graduate high school early, then you wait till you're 21. Go get some life experience. I'm sure if you're that smart, you'll be in college, hopefully not worrying about politics.
Delegate Patterson, didn't we just make some changes a couple years back?
My point is, we made changes to the number, the membership on the board. We made changes to the district and we gave the student member voting rights, except things that were excluded, such as personnel and sensitive issues. And that the members typically are very vocal. They share ideas. And having served on school board for 12 years, I know the kinds of decisions we have to make. And with information requirements coming down from the blueprint, it is very taxing and there are critical decisions. And I think that representation for the member plus the 7 members that we have, or 9, is adequate.
All right. Is there any?
Well, we're not changing the number of members on the board. We're just changing the age, right?
I'm cognizant of that, but my whole point is the representation, the demographics of the people that are there. I think it's really important to have, for me, to have maturity and, as was quoted, life experiences. And I think that the rationale offered, since we changed the age, gave the student member who is going to be 17 or sometimes 18, that representation is there.
Okay, as I was saying, is there any other information that anyone else needs to have a vote, to make a decision?
So really, one point clarification. So if you have a student who is 18 and end of 11th grade, run for the school board, still in school, we will have that 18-year-old on the school board, still a student. So technically, we could have 2 or more student members. Depends on birthday. And as far as the experience factor, diversity of life experiences, Chairman Wilson talked about, I mean, that would be a little problematic, you would think. So I'm all for 18-year-olds having full representation. They serve in the military and allowed to do a lot of things very much difficult for any member of society. But we also have the age limit for delegates and senators and others. So I will kind of yield to the body. Since I'm not on the education committee anymore, I guess Delegate Patterson would be the lead with this. And are you saying, Delegate Patterson, you would have problem carrying this legislation through your committee?
Well, no, the purpose for if it is a local bill, it is presented. I would not be offering testimony. I would be offering, this is the bill, this is what the county wants to propose. But let me be clear, I do not support this this legislation.
Okay, thank you.
Is there any other information that you guys need to make a vote, to have a vote, or you want to wait till later?
Nope, I'm ready to vote.
Is that a motion?
I'm sorry. I motion that we vote on this now.
Yes.
Is there a second? Kevin?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Of
Hands
motion is-
up,
I
in favor of the
apologize.
motion.
Yeah, we do the motion.
I apologize. I move that this bill move unfavorably. I apologize.
Okay,
Do I have a second?
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed?
Aye.
Okay, one opposition. Thank you, guys. Number 7, this bill came out of a forum that we had with Delegate Holmes regarding homeowners associations. It's a proposal to require certain training to be completed by individuals appointed or elected to the governing body of a common ownership community. Now, this has been something that's been a big problem in Charles County. We talked about how homeowners boards are in charge of hundreds of thousands of dollars, and we have had thefts and a lot of other stuff. This is just a small thing that we need to do, as opposed to what other people are doing statewide. That's my 2 cents worth on this.
If I might, I'm going to
Sure.
use that term again. This is a tool to move in the right direction, and I support this piece of legislation as a start. You're having issues in Charles. We've had issues for years, and Prince George is dealing with these. Delegate Holmes is our go-to person on this, and he stays pretty busy. I think it's important to make sure folks are trained up. You can't expect accountability if you don't give folks the tools and let them know what's expected of them. So
Thank you so much. Delegate Harris has his hand up.
Yeah, absolutely. So I met with the team a few weeks ago on this particular bill. So I 100% support this bill, mainly because I actually sat on the HOA a few years ago, and you can tell that there was lack of training when a lot of members got onto this board. My one issue with the bill that I explained to them is, okay, fine, you got 90 days to do this particular training. After those 90 days is up and you don't do the training, then what, right? Are they being kicked off of the board? Like, what is the outcome of not getting that certification within that 90-day period? And so just got to figure what that piece is, because ain't no sense of creating a law, creating a bill. There's no consequences. It's just there, right? So, but I'm for it.
Madam Chair, this would be your committee, right?
Is it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it'd be,
HOA.
yeah, it's ENT.
Okay.
So I say all that.
Yes.
Delegate Harris is exactly correct. I think we're all in favor of the idea, but what's the enforcement mechanism? I don't know what Prince George's County does. If there's something more we need to do, because at the end of or do need to be certified, because I do believe having this requirement is not arduous, but it will make people take a second glance at whether they actually want to do this job or not, because instead of just being on a power trip. So Senator Jackson, are you aware if there any enforcement mechanism in Prince George's?
Well, what I'll say is we have the benefit that Delegate Holmes runs that subcommittee, I believe, on the ENT, which is where this bill will go.
Delegate Harris, did you guys talk about?
So
Delegate Holmes.
No, so Prince George's County currently does not have you don't have to take this training to be on the board currently in Prince George's County. The training exists, but there's no mandate to actually take the training in order to be on the board.
Okay, you guys, I will talk to Delegate Holmes. I will try to find some enforcement mechanisms if that is the way this board wants to move. I do believe that we should not be passing suggestions, which we do a lot, because there's no enforcement. It's just a suggestion. So if it's okay with you, I'll circle back with Delegate Holmes immediately and find out whether he's heard of any enforcement policies that would work. And I want to know whether you guys are okay with this with enforcement.
Heck yeah.
Yes.
Is that a motion?
100%.
Yes.
Who was that?
Jackson.
Jackson motion. Is there a second?
I
To
second.
approve. Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Thank you so much. We've made it through the county bills. We have a couple more. I want to thank Delegate Patterson and Delegate Ellis Senator Ellis for sending over what bills that they're working on. Delegate Patterson, you want to speak to yours?
Absolutely. And this is a carryover from the bill that was put in place two years ago. But last session, we had a bill in Ways and Means from Baltimore County. And with it, it dealt with vacancies, the time limit or the requirement to have vacancies on the Board of Education filled within a time period. And then, as you well know, in Charles County last December, there was a board member who quit after a few weeks. And unfortunately, that position was not filled. This is what, December? That position was not filled until October, November of this year, almost a year vacancy. And there was no requirement to have that vacancy filled and yada, yada, yada. So I offered to the board that I would put in legislation pretty much aligned with Baltimore County. And it's very simple. It simply states that that the Charles County Board of Education to fill a vacancy on the county board within a certain number of days after the vacancy occurs, and also to publicize the materials on the website and other things. So within 2 months, 60 days, the vacancy would be announced. It's very simple.
60 days for the announcement, but how long before they should fill it?
Within 60 days after the vacancy occurs on the county board, the elected members of the board shall select a qualified, the board members, individual to fill the vacancy on the board for the remainder of the term of that term and use a successor until a successor is elected and qualifies. The board shall make publicly available on its website live video streaming of each public meeting under this paragraph and complete an unedited archive video recording of each public meeting. In other words, it's when the vacancy occurs within 2 months, they should advertise and then fill the vacancy. And again, it mirrors what occurred within another county.
Does it change anything else? Like who decides and how, it doesn't change anything else?
No.
Okay. Any discussion, you guys?
No, I mean, it was very frustrating for some members to say, well, you know, there's no it was District 1. There's no representation for District 1, and we're settling in. And now there is a selection, a person who's coming in, but she's coming in a year behind. She's pretty sharp. She's catching up, but it still is. We wanted to make sure there's equity among the districts. That's why for each district, they had 2 members, and then you had the at-large members.
Delegate Harris.
Yeah, so pretty much, so currently right now so there's no time limit whatsoever for them to pick someone. So that's currently how it's written right now. So that was my first question. Obviously, I see your head shaking, Delegate
Right.
Patterson.
Right.
So the second portion of the question is, now I know it's Charles County, not charter and all that good stuff. I get it. So why let the school board do it and not the commissioners?
Oh, because that's the way the law is written. Should there be a vacancy, they select amongst themselves. For example, the commissioners couldn't even, if there was a vacancy on the Board of Commissioners, they couldn't do it. It's pretty much like what happens in Prince George's. The Central Committee would select the replacement. But because school members are nonpartisan, they make the selection amongst themselves.
Got it. Check. Got it.
Thank you.
Yes, that's why in Prince George's County, the Central Committee does not select a replacement for the county council.
They don't?
No, they do not.
Who does?
The Central Committee?
No, the Central Committee does not select. It all depends on when the vacancy takes place. It goes to an automatic special election. If it's after that deadline, then the county council will select amongst themselves who that person will be.
Wait.
Yeah.
What
So
about other counties? In Montgomery County, how is it?
Yeah. So for example, when Councilman Edward Burrows, when he got on the county council, he was elected to a special election. But then when council member Derek L. Davis resigned, the council appointed Jonathan Medlock. to be in that.
Wow.
Hmm.
That's pretty interesting because I thought all the counties, well, you know what? They're different because code home rule and then charter and then other kinds of government.
Yes.
Okay.
Makes sense. Okay.
All right. Any other information you guys need for this to be a county bill? Oh, and let me back up 1 second. Delegate Patterson, I know you presented this to the county. You did it at the school board, and the county commissioners are aware of it.
No, this was not a county bill. This was a bill that I sponsored.
But if it's going to be a delegation bill, the county has to be on board, right?
Oh, I can do that.
I know you presented it at the Board of Education meeting.
Right.
Okay.
Why don't we make it simple? I can present this bill to the commissioners and get.
Well, we could just send it to them, honey. I think what we'll do, excuse me for calling. I think what we'll do is we'll put them all in a package and send it back to the
Okay.
commissioners and tell them that we voted unanimously for it or whatever our vote is.
And can I ask just
Yeah, if I
procedurally?
might.
Oh,
Hold
go
on.
ahead, Senator.
So if I might, so there are three forms of government we have in the state, and I happen to be lucky enough to have all three, right? Commission form, code home rule, and charter county. You know, Delegate Patterson, as you're doing this, you may find yourself having to include, and I'm not saying you will, but you may have to include the other code home rule counties. Not sure, just a thought. Just to be aware of that. So,
Oh, we've gone through that before, right?
Yes, we have.
yes, ma'am, we have. So, you know,
Gotcha.
That's exactly what I was getting ready to ask, but okay,
Yes.
because of the form of government.
Okay.
Well, you're also the chair of the Southern Maryland delegation, so you shouldn't have any problem getting.
Oh, she says with a spurt. I obviously will not.
But it's easy, right? I don't think
It's not punitive. It's just closing, making sure government runs smoothly. And so I'm not sure what the opposition would be, but we'll proceed.
Okay. Thank you.
Kara's taking notes.
Okay, it doesn't sound like there's any opposition. Am I seeing this wrong? Everybody's in favor? No need for a motion. Any opposition? Thank you so much, Delegate Patterson, for that. Now, I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from Senator Ellis. You want to go ahead?
Sure, thank you, Madam
Is
Chair.
that
It's
what I
only
see?
three. It's only
Oh,
three.
I'm only seeing 3. I'm sorry. Consideration of sponsorship. Oh.
And then
Okay.
District 9.
Discussion of each proposed bill, evaluation of impact on public. Okay, I'm sorry. Go for it, Senator Ellis.
And so, thank you, Madam Chair. So the issue, my office, and sure all of you get a lot of input from constituents on the pool at CSM. It's closed with no notice to the public and no intentions to open it up. Our seniors have nowhere to go. Our swim teams, the year-round swim teams, have nowhere to go in the county. And, the demand for that pool is very much there. I know we received communication from the county moving up a really nice aquatic facility in Charles County, and they want our help with that. But the best of scenarios, that'll be another 4 to 5 years out. So in the meantime, we have this gap. Our seniors have nowhere to go for water aerobics. Some seniors, that's the only exercise they can take in the water because of gravity in the water issue. It's really great on their bones as far as impact. They can't run. And so the pool with the water is really great aerobics. So delegation and each member had a representative. We took a trip down to the Leonardtown pool on the campus of CSM. Beautiful facility, well functioning, and they give us a printout of the usage of the pool, and there were only 3 out of St. Mary's County users, and I think was that a 1-year period. So at best, if those 3 people came from Charles County, it'll be only 3 folks to take that drive down. So our constituents are not driving to Leonardtown to use that beautiful facility, while CSM is taking all the resources and supporting that facility there in Leonardtown. It was announced to us that they're paying the entire electric bill. And by the way, that facility is run by the St. Mary's County Parks and Recreation people. And so, all these bills is basically to address that issue. So we can really get the resources to temporarily have the CSM pool open. They say, well, now the base number is $3 million to open up that pool and have it as a transitional facility. So one of the things that we did in 2019, I believe, is unify the CSM budget. We unified the CSM budget where basically they put all the money in one pot. They don't have to account for what happens in each county, each campus. I mean, that wasn't the case from the beginning of CSM till 2019. And so what that allowed them to do is to push all that money for pool aquatics into other counties and basically shut down the school and forget about it. And so what the first bill I want to talk about is return things to the way it was. I can't believe I'm saying that. Return things to the way it was, as far as each county campuses have a separate accounting that has to go through the commissioners and power on the commissioners to make sure that the money the commissioners put in for each county, the money's coming in is spent equitably throughout each of the county's facilities. And I really believe that we were sold a bill of goods when the past president of CSM told us it was a great, would be more efficient and more cost savings for CSM to do that. But I think it's being used to really not provide the services that we need here in Charles County. So that budget bill is a simple bill saying that, hey, each county's expenses and contributions must be approved and voted on by the county commissioners for each county. And it's basically a tool of accountability for those funds flowing to the college from each county. So that's that bill. That was the law for ever since, I'm not sure when CSM became College of Southern Maryland. It was 25 years ago, probably. But for like 20 plus years, that was how it was done. And we had our resources here in Charles County.
So,
Can I ask a question? Because we're kind of going back to almost a procedural issue here. This would obviously be something that would have to be agreed upon by the county commissioners at least. I would assume, because now we're putting more onus on them to be involved. I kind of see your point, especially with the advent of the pool and how it seems while we as Charles County are probably putting in the most resources and we may not be getting our fair share. But I guess my first question is this something that our county commissioners are going to be behind?
I would have the same question. And for the first thing is that we're overturning a bill that we passed a couple of years back. And then another thing is the problem Delegate Patterson is going to have with her code home rule bill that Senator Jackson mentioned, is that this involves 3 counties now. All 3 of these involves 3 counties. So we're going to have to get strong support from our county to be able to push it for all 3 counties.
There are several things going on. I'm sure all of you saw the letter from Dr. Wilson and from the county commissioners, Parks and Recs, regarding the pool.
Yes.
And their decision to just forego having the pool at the college. After visiting, and you have to see it, after visiting St. Mary's campus and seeing the facilities that are there, not 1, but 2 pools, and the fact that the county has been working, they worked in tandem together for over 5 years. And I'm thinking, well, what happened? It's just the even though everyone is under code home rule, they're operating totally different. So the pool is just one symptom of the problem that exists. And privately, people are saying when you think about funding and resources, and even though you have a balanced number on the board of trustees, etc., when you look at the enrollment, it is different for each campus. Obviously, Little Plata is the largest campus, but then when you look at enrollment and expenses, it is not 1/3, 1/3. And as we're the 1/3 and 2/3, Calvin and St. Mary's are glued together, it's really an uphill fight. So I think we have to really peel back the onion and look at what are some of the real problems. And I think it has to do with funding. And it's not just the college, it's also Tri-County Council. Because again, it's a 1/3, 1/3, 1/3 issue.
Senator Jackson has his hand up.
Yes, thank you. The St. Mary's and Calvert County are both commission forms of government, and you know, just for the conversation, Calvert does not have a pool. I think if we're going to look at the largest county in that where the college sits, we just need to make a decision whether we want to go and get into and invest in having a pool in Charles County. I think you know, there are a lot of things that are going on in some of the other counties that there are reasons for it, and we can talk about this later. But we just need to make our mind up if we want to have a pool in Charles County. We had an issue in Prince George with the pool when it had to be closed, and it caused a lot of problems because it was the place for seniors. And it was in the heart of the Prince George Community College pool, the pool at Prince George Community College. So I understand the fiscal impact that comes about with that. You know, I think we need to have a real conversation, you know, with our Board of Trustee members, as well as with the leadership and amongst ourselves, if we want to have that pool. There's a lot of things that went into those two pools down in St. Mary's County. I kind of see it all the time sitting on the budget committees. I'll sort of leave it like that. Yeah, but I do have a question about reverting back to the budget. Senator Ellis, reverting back to the way the budget was, you know, in the past, where we changed the sharing of the information, or the information the way it's shown. Can we not see what we need to see? Do we think we're not able to do that? Do we need to revert back, I guess?
And so the thing is accountability for each of our communities. These are counties.
I got you.
And basically, I think Delegate Patterson mentioned it's third, when, you know, Charles County is larger. And so, you know, and a larger contributor to the CSM. And so it's, we have so many things based on formulas, right? School funding, the CADE formula. I mean, all these are based on formula, based on the size of each district. And so just being equal is not necessarily equitable when you have the population, the difference in population and the access to some of these resources. And so the key is we're having a discussion, and I think that's what our constituents want us to have, this discussion on these things that is not going the way they believe it should. Like when we had the meeting at the county commissioners for the bills, the largest contingent of folks who showed up were for
the pool, man. Yeah. And my question was only, can we not see that? I mean, I think we or do we need to revert back to the ability to gain information. I think, can we not see that? And if we can see it, then we can kind of focus on do we want to pull and this body working toward that. But if we need to revert back, then we need to revert back. I'm not sure if we need, but I'm open to be convinced. So
Thank you, sir. And so
Chairman
this is
Wilson has his hand up, you guys.
And I guess because to Senator Ellis's point, if we're not getting our fair share, but it sounds like that the county was working in concert to make sure that they got a pool, and that basically instead of just like, what has our county done, the county commissioner side, to move this ball forward of getting a pool that is a joint use pool or joint paid for a pool would be the first question. I was told it would cost about $3.5 million to get this pool up and running. But then I heard that it's a hugely different number, right? It goes from 3 million to what, 30 million? Was that it? Because I unfortunately was in court. But when I offered to go get the money, I was told by the commissioners, well, don't do that because that means we have to pay to man it. Like, there's nothing we can do here if our county commissioners don't want a pool. Okay.
right.
They do want a pool. They
Okay.
have in their, what do they call it, Edith, when they plan out for
Yeah,
5 years?
Yeah.
Well,
They
look, I
have,
mean,
they have a major aqua center planned.
I mean, I'm
in
no,
sure.
aquatic
Albany.
center, an aquatic center.
Aquatic
So I
center.
guess and then that goes back to what I was saying earlier. If we want a pool as a body, then we need to get with the stakeholders to work on making that happen. So
They
it was
have- they have worked-
it was a two-part question. I mean, and I'm sorry, but I do understand the matter with the Tri-County Council, and I do understand the size of the counties. I mean, if we want to do the pool, let's sit down with our commissioners and try to see how we go about to do that.
Yeah, look, they were very clear. I'm asked Kara to pull up the letter. They were very clear about what they want. CSM has elected, they don't want the pool on campus. The county wants a pool in a place that's more populated. I believe they want it near the stadium. They want to combine funds. And so they offered recommendations. And when you have two entities who have joined at the hip to say, this is what we want to do, we're sort of locked into that. Kara, did you pull up the letter?
And I would add that that's local government, you guys. That is local government.
Because they offered recommendations, and
I could add those comments you were looking for, Delegate Patterson.
all right, thank you so much. Sure.
Yes, so just long story short, they were saying beyond the repairs, the operating cost would be around 350 to 600,000, and based on these calculations, CSM is not a viable short-term option for the pool due to its age, condition, and restricted use. And then at the end, they invited CSM, the delegation, BOCC, and the Department of Parks, Recs, and Planning to come together to create a new plan because they're not looking at CSM as the main option because they want a long-term facility rather than housing it in CSM having to deal with the operating costs that the college can't afford. Is that clear?
Thank you,
Yep.
Sharon. Thank you very much.
Got it. Yeah, I mean, it took a number, probably well over a decade for the aquatic center and Brandywine to get built. So I'm on board for a facility. Let's just figure out how we're going to do it. So and maybe the college is not the place. I don't know. I think what I heard, if I'm not mistaken, is that the refurbishment of the pool that's there and all the things that would take place there are they're not for. And I've had the long-term plan for the county. I've had conversations with some of the commissioners as well. So what would be terrific, folks. I'm on board for it. So.
Kevin, I'm Delegate Harris.
So my only question is, did we ever provide CSM money to get that pool back up and running at some point, or we never provided them any funds?
Well, we never provided them enough to get it back up and running, but Chairman Wilson was trying, but the numbers changed.
Yeah.
Right.
And I put
But was there
$1 million in the budget this year for it. So there's $1 million in the budget. The idea was for them to get it up as a transitional facility until we get what the county suggested. And so they have no intention of really having that transitional facility as
This
And
job is so much easier if we stick to our lane, you guys. That's my opinion. It's so much easier if we stick to policy work that our county needs to get their job done.
So, go back to my original question. So if we gave them, if we allocated $1 million already, so are we pulling that back to do something else with it? I mean, because they were allocated $1 million to do that project.
It's absolutely useless if it's not in their CRP or whatever you call it. If it's not in their plan for the next 5 years,
CIP.
absolutely useless.
If they don't put in the
I think that-
CIP, yeah, it's not
what
going
a-
anywhere.
What about transferring it to the county for the county's aqua center?
That makes sense.
well,
We might
yeah.
be able to move it
Sports
up quicker.
complex. The
Yeah,
sports
okay.
complex.
Yeah, so we took action on that a couple of years ago. There's $1.2 million in the budget for Charles County to plan for that center, to design it through the Stadium Authority. That's in the budget from 2 years ago. And so it goes back to the planning thing we talked about earlier, and that backlog and the county really executing these resources we give them to get these facilities in. I mean, we provide the resources, but it's not being used because of the lack of planners. And I think that was the message clearly delivered to us with that meeting at the college, with some of this delegation was present.
So are we going to, Madam Chair, are we going to respond to the letter that was sent out? I mean, I can help you with it, because I think the sentiment from the delegation is that we're responding to our constituents, the constituents who say they want this facility. And they're saying, well, we do, but we don't want to add CSM.
So what would you, let's, okay, I want to respond to you. What do you suggest our response might be?
Well, that we're in receipt of a letter, a decision of both Dr. Wilson, the board, and the county commissioners, and we respect their decision. However, we are still supportive of, and maybe Senator Ellis can add some words, that a facility be created or offered for our citizens who need aquatic recreation or sports complex or water complex or whatever. And that we'll be working in tandem with them to make this a reality, and blah, 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 blah. So.
Okay.
I mean, is that what, I mean, what else can we do?
Yeah,
So,
I think that sounds like we're minding our business.
okay.
But answering the constituents' concern, I make that I can make sense of that. If there's a will of this board to do that, we can do that.
Okay, definitely. And so the thing is, in the county's letter to the delegation, they request us to work on funding mechanisms from the state for this grand, nice aquatic center that's in the letter. So we're being pulled into the local stuff, even to get the funding for it. And I just want to say the funding is available. That's not a problem, because I'm not sure if the delegation members are aware that we've secured $20 million to upgrade the Blue Crabs facility, the stadium, through the Stadium Authority, through bonding that they have through a $200 million pot of money. So I've worked hard for the last couple of years to secure that funding. That letter just came from the Stadium Authority saying $20 million going to renovate. So the resources are there. You know, we in the Senate and the House, we can get the resources to solve these problems. The issue is the will of all our institutions to work with us to get the resources and to solve these issues to meet these constituents' needs. And so it's not a lack of resources because we have the state budget, operating budget, we have the capital budget, and we have different agencies like the Stadium Authority, which has different bodies of financing, which we've tapped into now. And so my job as Senator for District 28 is to make sure that everything that goes through the state, that Charles County is benefited from it also. And so that's what the $200 million budget for the minor league teams. Charles County Stadium was not included in that initial pot of money. And between meetings at Mako with the Stadium Authority and folks were like, hey, you must include us with that because we will keep that facility really nice, really functional. The stadium we're talking about. We have graduations there. We have vaccination clinics. We have tours for tots. A lot of things happen at that stadium. And so we will work. And so they kind of bought into that and granted that money to really upgrade and keep that a Class A facility. So that could be the same thing for the pool in La Plata, to have it as a transitional facility. Because a senior citizen had surgery who needs to exercise, who needs to, get in the water, they're not obviously not driving to St. Mary's County. And I know the closest pool up at Prince George's County Community College, where my son swam on the swim team up there. I mean, but that's a long drive for our constituents, and the schools are not available. So I believe we have the resources. We can find the money to have that CSM pool as a transitional facility open. And it just kind of bedevils me why CSM is so bent on not even touching that facility. I mean, they talk about a new issue, $500,000 in operating costs. Well, in St. Mary's County, the user fees covered most of the operating costs, I believe, except $4,000 they briefed us last time. And then CSM is paying all the electric bill, a couple $100,000 a year. And so where there's a will, there's a way. And I'm just sad that there's no will to have that transitional facility there for the least of these citizens that we have who need that exercise facility. Our kids, a swim team, Charles County, majority Black, and Black people have the most difficult problems with water and survival, and we need these kids swimming. And so for senior citizens, kids, I mean, to me, it's essential. It's a life or death situation, but there is no will to get the resources to do that at the local level, and not hearing the concerns of the citizens. And Delegate Davis, I agree with you, and we're being pulled into this local issue, which, we are not dictators of Annapolis, right? We just can't say, hey, do this and you will do this.
We're not equipped to balance the rest of that budget that the county has to balance. And that's why they have a CYP that plans out 5 years, because when you talk about millions of dollars that they have to make a sharp turn and deal with, then they've got to balance a lot of other stuff. But I've got two other hands. I've got Delegate Harris and then Senator Jackson.
Yeah, no, I was just so I agree with what Senator Ellis is saying. I just want to make one quick little correction there that the citizens, they don't have to go too far. They don't have to go all the way to community, Prince George's Community College. They can go to their aquatic center in Brandywine. And so there is a place that is somewhat close, and then for some of the people that live on this side of Waldorf, they can actually get to the aquatic center quicker than getting to all the way down to CSM. But I mean, we can just think about that as a backup to a backup solution for our seniors that and come up and create a way to how we had to create a way for the membership program or whatever it is as a backup until we can get a location up and running in Charles County. At the minimum, there is one that's somewhat closer.
Senator Jackson.
I was actually going to say that that facility there, but also, we got to work on our partners and we certainly know that there's a lot of dollars out there, and We just gotta kind of figure it out, but that facility in Brandywine is available. From a transitional standpoint, we gotta roll up our sleeves, folks, and kind of figure this thing out. But we gotta have the locals on board, before we invest. Otherwise, the dollars are just sitting there and with no projects resulting from it. So that's my piece. And Madam Chair, I'm gonna have to jet off of here in probably about 10 minutes or so.
Me too.
Prince
I think we
George's,
all do.
education folks tonight. So
All right, nerd, we got it, Mike. We get it.
Can we jump really quick, Senator, if you don't mind, to the delegate night and then come back?
Yeah, no, we'll just go to delegation night and that's it, because.
Senator Ellis, we'll keep talking about this. We'll keep
Yes,
talking
we
about
will.
this.
Yeah, this discussion was important, so for our constituents, so it's
Okay.
good. It covers this week. So District 28 night, my Chief of Staff, Amani, will brief us. She's done a really great job and coordinated. And so, Madam Chair, would you mind, Amani?
No problem. Sure.
Before you go to Ms. Amani, Senator Ellis, I know we only represent 18%, so we don't have a fee to get in to your night. So
It's double. It's double.
It's all right. I know how to breach, brother. It's okay. I know how to breach. That's okay.
And Delegate Harris, for the record, how much percentage do you have?
18%. 18. Every bit that the senator has, I have.
All right, Amani.
Alrighty, thank you so much, Madam Chair. So I sent an email out, I think it was last week, but in a nutshell, our District 28 night will occur on January 22nd, 2024, from 5:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. at the Banneker Douglas Museum in Annapolis. So as far as splitting the cost between all members for District 28, so the cost of the museum as a whole is $1,500, and between, I believe it's 4 of you guys, it will be $375. So according to our fiscal department, the invoice sent over by the Banneker Douglas Museum has to have the signatures from all members who are going to be participating in the District 28 night, as far as, paying for the venue rental. So thus far, I have Delegate Patterson's signature. I just need Senator Ellis, of course, Madam Chair, and Chairman Wilson's signatures. Now, the good thing about that, we have a little bit of time. So according to the museum, the amount that we owe can be paid on the date of the event or in the weeks after. So Teron, I know you messaged me earlier about this, but signatures can be gotten from the remaining members during the first week of session. So we still have a little bit of time to proceed with that. So that's all good.
We're definitely not going to make this a Charles County thing. It's just gonna be District 28.
As far as
That's the plan. Like Kevin and the Senator Jackson, this ain't for them.
I mean,
last year.
what's that?
We
They
don't
had
need
their own
them.
last
I would
year.
just we don't need them.
Hey, look, we love you guys anyway. We have 3 counties, but you were invited, so no, it's fine. We're good. We understand. Handle your business. We will be there though. So
Okay, you guys are welcome.
we support.
I put something on it.
We spoke to fiscal about this, and they said since it's district night, it's just for the districts, each district.
So we're good. We are good.
And so we try to include you, Senator Jackson and Delegate Harris, but
And
folks
look,
are not
everybody
that
but
they
Chair
should know.
Wilson. Everybody but Chair Wilson. I understand. Trust me, I know.
Amani, are there other charges?
We have only the venue rental is set in stone right now. But as far as the next subject on here, Senator Ellis spoke with Chef Kendall Selby. Many of you may be familiar with him, and he did agree to cater our district night. So as far as the attendees for district night, we are going with the setup that will accommodate up to 150 individuals. And of course, that means we need to get the menu together for those 150 individuals. So if anybody has any food suggestions, we're welcome to those as well. But we just need to figure out how much that will cost from Chef Selby to accommodate 150 folks. So that'll be the next charge on there.
And we would pay the same way?
Yes. Yep. Split it up 4 ways. probably I'm guessing another form from Chef's, that'll be like an invoice, have the signatures on it, just so everything is set in stone and comes out properly from each member's individual account. So
And if I recall, it was 1,500 per person was the limit.
yes, yep, that's correct. And that's combined. So
Anything else you need from us?
let me see. As far as the invitees, how do you guys or all the members, how you feel about inviting all elected officials in Charles County to our district nights?
You got referees?
As long as we have bouncers there, we'll be good.
Oh,
They're good. They're good. But also some people who normally would not come, maybe HOA presidents, etc. And some organization, community leaders. Maybe we could get a bus or some little van to come up.
that's what we were also going to talk about. It's on my
Yeah.
list of things. Thank you, Patterson.
Amani, you said 100 people?
150.
150, okay.
Yes, that is, let me see, with that setup, we will have 4 cocktail tables and no chairs. So it's gonna be more of like a mingling type event that we can accommodate that many folks with.
Are we able to have sponsors?
I have not heard anything about that.
Oh, remember
Oh,
that?
that's right. I forgot. No, we can't.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, remember that?
Sorry.
All good. All good.
Okay, before we wrap up, Senator Ellis, we do not want to shut down your opinion or your voice. Tell us what you want us to do with your suggestions.
Well, the thing is, this is a deliberative body. I want us to deliberate about it. I have no, we must do this. And so I'm not very dogmatic about it, but I think when we brainstorm this and we think about it in a session, we'll come to a consensus, and our constituents will know that we are considering their every need and desire, and working with the commissioners and the CSM collaboratively, we're coming up with a solution for their concerns.
I appreciate your spirit, the spirit of that. I really appreciate it. I want to circle
Madam
back.
Chair, before you leave,
Okay.
if I might, so District 27 will be announcing their district night coming up. You guys will be invited, and we do ours at the Calvert House. So we will let you know. And just I know the commissioners from one of our counties, there were some buses that were brought up, but we will give you the date for our event.
All right, thank you.
And we actually invited the delegate from 27C as well, and no fights at all. So
No fights.
things went well.
All right, you guys, we will put together a summary and get it out to you of everything we did today. We will talk about how we're going to divide up who's going to be presenting the bills so we can make sure all the bills are identical before they go in. Delegate Patterson, you've already filed yours, so we need to get a copy to the Senate.
It's a pre-file, yes.
Okay, so we need to get a copy and get a copy to the Senate. Any questions? And I know I see a hand up, but any other questions? Wait, hold on. Let's do Delegate Harris first.
Yeah, so one thing I want to mention is that letterhead that the commissioners are sent out to us. There's a lot of information on there that's wrong that they need to fix. Maybe we could provide them that information, but that stuff is wrong. It's been wrong for a minute. So
Alexis, that's a job for you, honey. Thank you. Thank you. Anything particular? I mean, tell me in particular so we make sure we get that done.
So the addresses are wrong. I know my address is wrong. Chairman Wilson address is wrong. My name, forget them. But other than that, I think somebody else's address is wrong on there. I gotta go back and look. But I know for a fact my address and Chairman Wilson address is wrong on there.
And you like M in your name?
Yeah, my name has an M. Yes.
His name has M. Okay, Sharon.
I just wanted to know if Delegate Patterson and Kara had a date for the Southern Maryland delegation, so we can know if we have our our next meeting on the same day successively.
Yes.
All right. And I will be sending out, thank you for mentioning Southern Maryland. There is an alarm. We had a meeting regarding transportation. And I don't know if you saw the list or not, but at the MTA, the ridership commuter buses will be curtailed and some will be eliminated. And so I'm going to sent out a request for members for the Southern Maryland delegation to have an emergency meeting regarding this.
Okay,
And the reception is February 29th. And Sharon, actually Alexis, I can work with her to determine, do you all prefer to have the meetings back to back on the same day, or would you rather stagger them every Friday, have a meeting, the Southern Maryland and the Charles County meetings?
I think I like them the same day.
Yeah, okay.
Yes,
Please.
yes,
Yes, thank you, cause, thank you.
yes. It's a lot. So what's the 29th, you guys? I missed that.
Reception.
The Southern Maryland reception.
Yes,
Ah,
February 29th.
that's a big one. Okay. Anything else for the good of the order? We'll get back together and decide who carries what.
See, February, is that leap year?
It is, yeah.
So can I
Anything
ask one
else?
more
Thank you.
thing?
Oh, Sharon?
So then the next meeting for the delegation will be the LBI meeting then?
Yes,
Or will they be talking about proposals? It'll be the LBI meeting, the next one.
yes. I think we handled the proposals this time.
Okay. Okay, that sounds good.
LBI. So you guys make sure you do
When-
your homework. All right,
When are we looking to do that one?
excuse me.
When are we looking to do that?
Will it be around the 12th then, Kara? When is your first meeting with the Southern Maryland delegation?
Identified our first meeting yet.
Okay, you have not at all. Okay. So we'll be in contact then, Delegate Harris.
Okay, sounds good. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Good to see you guys. Is there a second?
Second.
Great, all in favor? Any opposed? Motion, whatever the word is.
Happy
Carries.
Happy
Thank you,
holidays.
guys. See you soon.
Happy holidays.
Here,
Happy
appreciate it.
holidays. Bye-bye.
Every